Alright, so let's talk Stamden. Matter of fact, let's talk almost all the classes. So let's get it out the way. You can't really give a quick assessment or an easy assessment of every class because there's so many modes. So we're gonna go over them all one by one. So dueling. Stamden can hold its own, but I mean, man, every class, even its Magicka counterpart, is like far succeeding this thing. I mean, I don't think it beats Blade. I don't think it beats Stam Blade. I don't think it beats Magden. I don't think it beats either of the DKs. I don't think it beats Magplar or Stamplar. Geez, instead of going over what I don't think it beats, I mean, let's go over what I do think it. I think it ties Stamsork, unless it's on the proc build, then I actually think the Stamsork has the advantage. And I think it can probably take on Mag Crow, stalemate it. I think it can stalemate Stamcrow. That's it, man. Now, if we're talking about not dying, you can build any class to not die, especially this one. So you can stalemate most classes, but beating them, let's just say stay away from 1v1s. This is Stamden. Unless you know what you're doing, then you can use skill gap to overcome it. But we're talking about the average player and how they'll do, not us, above average players or the elite players. So how do I think it performs in BGs? I think it's actually pretty solid in Battlegrounds due to all the healing and no CP factored in. I actually think you can build this almost, almost any kind of way you want to still perform well in Battlegrounds. So that's a plus of the class. Solo play, I actually think it's not that great. I mean, it seems like, and it was back in the day, a good solo class. The biggest aspect of it is it lacks the damage aspect. I know I'm on Dizzy. I don't find putting Rending, Masters, and Vate on everything to be the class being OP or powerful. I find those sets to be doing the X. Like if you run a normal build to above average build on your classes and you're not just cheesing everything, you're going to find it difficult. I mean, you could throw Masters and Vate on anything and do extremely well and find nothing difficult. So once again, we're not pigeonholing ourselves into those sets. Everyone says we'll swap the build up, and bro, trust me, man, I've been wearing every sets. I do have the Masters and shit. I just don't care to use them. I mean, I want to play the game. You know what I'm saying? So all in all, it has all the tools for 1vX, but it's severely lacking in damage, and I'm going like ham on the damage, man. Like, it's not like I'm running around with 4K fucking weapon damage and no crit or none of this shit or no passes. I mean, part of that could be because everything's extremely tanky, which again factors into how this class is going to do 1vX. If you're running into a bunch of tanky targets, I mean, you're going to have a terrible time. Like, that's on any class. You're just going to have a terrible time. Like, you can have all the damage you want. I mean, this thing shreds, like, single target 1v1s, things like that, unless they're complete tanks like the guy I've been chasing around in this clip. But all in all, man, it's fine. It's just, do you have the time? Like, it's going to take quite some time to whittle down high health, high defenses. And then when you have multiple people with high health and defense, it's going to compound it. And eventually, will you run out of steam? Will more people come to back those people up? Are you going to run out of resources? Are they going to run out of resources? It's pretty much a coin toss. So, in a 1vX scenario, I actually don't think this actually shines that freaking well, man. I mean, if I was to, name the classes that shine extremely well in 1vX, it's going to be, ironically enough, Stamsork, my main, Stam Blade, and either of the DKs. And this is without the cheesy setups. If you put on the Masters and the Vate, everything fucking shines like Grandoid butter, man. So I'm just talking about from a normal player perspective. Both the DKs, Stamsork and Stam Blade, are amazing at these things. I think it's just due to being able to separate the enemies that are high health and things like that, and output enough damage in a short enough of time to where you can alleviate some of that pressure and get rid of some of the bodies and things like that. So I don't think this class, it has all the tools to shine. It's just the current meta doesn't allow for it. All right, moving on. Group play. Now this thing in group is insanity. Like one other person with Stamden, and you're cooking every damn thing. There's enough damage output from 2 people to single target focus a person down. Any person, it doesn't matter if it's tanks or anything. Like 2 people is a lot of damage in this game versus 1 person versus 5, 6, 17 people with fucking healers, however many you want, and people backing them up, not to mention their own heals and defenses. So group that shines. You can see my 2vX gameplay. I mean, you can help keep your teammates alive. I'm not even spec'd for group or anything, and it's great. Like, imagine if I just threw on like permafrost and budding seeds or things like that. But just as is right now, I'm fine for group play. Like, I group up with somebody and we could go take on the whole server. So, in group play and BGs, I think this class shines really well. In duels, it's dependent on skill and gear. And in 1vX, it's also dependent on skill and gear. And that's pretty much my breakdown for Stamden. If you've been playing Stamden from like launch, you could throw on like my build or a decent build, and you're gonna go out there and you're gonna perform extremely well. Like I made this build. When you see the build video, you'll see the changes I've made, and they're ever so slight, but they make the build work. These slight changes, you know, they complement the build very well. So that's my breakdown on Stamden. What do I think they could do to improve this? Nothing really. Stamden is in the cusp of, like I said, if you're a good player, you're going to do extremely well. And if you make too many changes to this, it would be actually extremely broken. Like I said, the reasons it's really not performing too well has nothing to do with the class itself and everything to do with the current meta. So all in all, I think you'll do very well. And if you really just want to go out there and shine on Stamden, I mean, run the masters, the Vate setups, or one of the two even you completely change your like some of these fights wouldn't even taken half the time it would. A lot of the tanks and people would have been gone. I would show you these things, but I'm not like trying to do this on classes I actually like. I will be playing Arcanist in the future, and I'll just show you how stupid of a fucking game it is. It's not like, you know, I'm going to play Arcanist because I need to. Everyone knows I main Stam Sork. You know, I play Dizzy Swing, but I'm not going to do it on that class. They want to release a class that's fucked up and broken. I'm going to show you the comparison. Like, that class, I know for a fact far outshines this one in every scenario, whether it be duels, 1vX, Zerging, all of that. Oh, I left that out. In a Zerg scenario, I'm being realistic with you. In the XV1 scenario, Stamden, well, let's go over XV1 scenario. XV1 scenario, who gives a fuck? I'm just going to be honest with you. Just put out some damage, heal your teammates. That's it, man. You're going to do well. That's any class. Like, stacking any class, or you're keeping people alive and you're putting out your little bit of damage plus your debuffs as is on the Stamden. So, hey, man. Now, Zerging, Group V group, big Group V groups action, because that's what Zerging is. I'm not saying this as an insult. That's just what it is. Like, your Zerging, it's also going to perform extremely well because, I mean, you don't have to worry about as much. You're a great addition to the group, and everything you do is going to count towards, you know, a win. If you're healing someone or yourself, you're going to be healing others. You know, if you're outputting damage, it's more power to the cause, whether it be y'all going against a single target or another group. I mean, Stamden has AoE skills. It's going to hit everyone. The beetles are going to hit everyone. Your ultimate's going to hit everyone. I think even more for the fetcher flies and things of that such. The ice skills, they all target. So that's my take on Stamden. How strong is it? If you're new, not that strong. If you're seasoned, very strong. If you're in cheese, top tier. And if you're in Zerg, Or actually won it, it really doesn't matter. It's going to hold its own. It's going to perform well. I'm going to go ahead and get out y'all here. It's your boy, KLG Ouchie. Peace.